Good morning, wig lovers. This is Heather from HairKittyKitty and CysterWigs. The wig that I'm currently wearing is Vaughn in Tahitian Sunset Rooted, and I wanted to just riff about something that I encounter every day of my life, and I think about pretty deeply every day of my life. And I was wondering what you thought about this. So just know up front that I would love to know your opinion throughout all of this. So even if you don't agree with me, please let me know in the comments because I feel like that gives us really good conversational fuel for later. So a little bit about me. I believe in the dignity of work. I really do. As hokey as that probably sounds in the modern era, I believe that work is healthy, up to certain limits. I feel like it provides a sense of purpose and meaning. It helps you feel like you're doing something constructive for society in the best cases. It makes you, I believe in the power of service. I feel like when you are of service to other people, it kind of like fills up your internal tank more than if you just do stuff for yourself, And what I'm really getting at here is that I honestly believe, and I'll give you context for this in a moment, but I honestly believe that we need to try to bring back the dignity of service work. For example, I feel like people who work in restaurants should be treated well. I don't believe that they should be treated as if they're some kind of servant class. I have been a waitress, I've been a bartender, I've been a busser, I've been a dishwasher. No job is beneath me. I've cleaned dog kennels. I've cleaned people's houses. You know what I mean? Like, I believe that all of those jobs are important because they alleviate a burden for somebody else. And if you're alleviating a burden for society or for somebody else, then you should be treated well for that. And not that people need to be walking around with chips on their shoulder or an entitlement complex, but there should be dignity in these things. And I think that one of the greatest tragedies of the late 20th and early 21st century is that we have, as a society, stripped away the dignity from these roles. And how it got that way, I have no idea, but it's really sad. And one of the things that makes this come into full clarity for me as somebody who has worked my way all the way up to like a director level position at a corporation, and I own my own company, I don't forget what it was like to be a busser and a dishwasher and a kennel cleaner, or a newspaper delivery girl. Like, I remember all of that stuff. And I also remember how people looked down on me for it. But when I look at those experiences, I still see the dignity in it. I still see the utility of it. I see that, I was helping other people all the way through those experiences. And if anything, I feel like I was more helpful then than I am now in my director level role because, the entities that I'm helping are very large companies who don't really need the assistance in a lot of cases, if you know what I mean. And so if anything, I feel less purpose in this role than I did in those service roles, but I'm compensated a lot better. And to me, something is really twisted about that. The way that, society prioritizes these roles based on scarcity of skills and not necessarily on, how essential those skills are, if you know what I'm getting at. And I think that's really wrong. And it really comes into sharp focus while I'm working in this, hoity-toity position because, for example, the thing that made me make this video is that I'm submitting forms so I can do this big research project on behalf of my firm. And the old process used to be that you would just send the form to the person in charge of the program, and she would work that through, and then they would contact you with like a plan of attack, right, for how to do the research. And now the process is almost entirely self-service, as in I have to go to a self-service portal and upload these PDF forms, and then I have to, do a bunch of self-service stuff. So you could kind of imagine that the company that I work for has systematically gotten rid of all of the administrative workers, all the service workers, all the intermediary people, and replaced them with self-service stuff. Well, that really adds up throughout the course of a day. It adds up a lot to the point where I'm doing a ton of administrative, busy work, red tape cutting, hole punching and box checking before I can actually get to my work. It impedes my productivity. And it really makes me wonder who made those calls, because it loses money in the long term to eliminate service workers who act as those intermediaries who make these processes work more smoothly, so that the people with the scarce skill sets can focus on those skills as opposed to focusing on all of the administrative stuff that goes on, to facilitate those processes. And I appreciate administrative assistants. I wish that I had an administrative assistant. I would love that, right? Like, I'm tempted every day to hire a virtual assistant just so I can get someone to help me with my emails and stuff like that. But my company wouldn't approve of that. So it's ridiculous to a certain extent, because think about how many companies now act like this. It's not just the one I work for. It's a lot of them do this now, where, they expect the people who work in, development roles or in corporate roles to not only do those roles, but to do the self-service administrative work on top of it, just so that the bottom line looks really nice and perky, because they trim the fat, so to speak. Well, I don't think that administrative workers are the fat that needs to be trimmed. I feel like they really help these processes, and I miss them. And I've never even had them, right? Like, I've never had a secretary or a personal assistant. By the time I entered the labor force full time, they had more or less already been gone. And, there's been a huge exodus of people who work in those administrative roles for the past 20, 30 years. This is going to get worse, because, there are still some folks in those roles, and there are new pieces of software that come out all the time to try to eliminate them. And we need them. We need them because, why would you want someone with a master's degree and 20 years of experience doing something highly technical, wasting so much time doing administrative work, when you could pay someone, a pretty good salary just to come in and do that administrative work? That person would have a job, work would run more smoothly, everyone would be more productive. Isn't that what we want? Because how does making everything self-serve make it more productive? That software doesn't exactly do the work for you. It just kind of makes it more self-service. And I feel like what we need is less self-service stuff, less self-checkout at the grocery store, less self-pumping at the gas station. Like, I feel like all of those things, while it's great for companies that we're willing to take on those burdens for ourselves, like, this is not the futuristic utopia I was expecting. You know what I mean? So let me know your thoughts. I'm very curious to hear them as I try to self-service a bunch of stuff today. I will be thinking about this a lot. How has this kind of self-service revolution changed your life and your job and how you function from day to day? Because it doesn't just affect your job. It affects literally every part of modern life, where everything's expected to be self-serve. Because, you have a smartphone, just scan the QR code. Oh my God. Okay, I'm gonna let you guys go. Love you. Bye.